Hello, how are you? This is Jelly Bling. Today's project is all about saying thank you. Those that place an order in February of 50 or more, I love to send thank you cards. I love taking the time to put these together and try to do something that's a little bit special. And this is for February orders. Isn't that beautiful? So today I'll be using Wild Ferns Bundle. And I've had this for a while and I keep thinking, oh, I need to use that, and today is the day. And it's a lot of fun. It comes with 3 different frames for words and then all kinds of dies to cut out the ferns, plus this piece here that we'll use in just a minute that perfectly tucks behind the layers for the words. There's 2 different ones. Okay. Here's that. That's all the pieces right there. Oh, and the layout, Jo Anne Hewins did something a bit different, but she used these same colors in this embossing folder. Love the layout. So doing something a little different with it, but I need to give her credit for her information, her great ideas. This embossing folder is just beautiful. And I'll let you know the paper sizes as we get started with them. So we'll use tear tape, sparkle gems, my favorite. I love these. This is for stamping the words on it. And this is just whatever size scrap paper you have at home. Of course, in the white. There's nothing quite like Stampin' Up! White. Thank you. So there's the die. So I'll cut this out. Okay, Pebbled Path. I love this color. And silver foil sheets. And I will cut out, let me pull out the dies. Oh, we'll use that elegant trim here in just a minute. These are the 2 dies for the seafoam. Well, let's set these out. So there's seafoam. And these seafoam papers are cut to 3 5/8 by 2 3/4. And see how there's 2 different dies and they go in different directions? When we start assembling it, you'll see the difference in these 2. And while we're at it, there are 4 dies that cut out 5 pieces, and I'm using those for the silver foil. It's very convenient that they all kind of fit together just on one little sheet. Yay! So I'll cut those out. And then of course, this frame is for the silver right here. Lately I've been using so much gold. Everything is gold. It's kind of nice to use silver. And I have a lot of this silver elegant trim, so it's perfect plan for today. So I have all those pieces cut out. And when you're running through this super detailed die, while it's in place, it's good to go back and forth, move it to a different part on your cutting plate, and again, do it back and forth. Then you'll get a good cut. Okay, so we'll use these pieces in just a minute. So let's work on the card itself. So this piece of designer paper is from this pack. And this pack is calling out gold, gold, gold. But if you flip it over, and it's beautiful paper, there's a few pieces that you could work with silver with them. Obviously not that. It'd be so hard to use this side if this is so pretty. Pretty. This one here would be good with silver too. I have a lot of it. Can you tell? I love this paper. So this is, I don't have the name on here. It's part of the Lovely and Sweet bundle, so it's probably called Lovely and Sweet Designer Paper. And you know, I can't just not know. I have to know. And I'll put all the products used in the description of the video. It'll say all the products used to make this card, and there'll be a link, and it will show you all the products. We'll be using Layered Florals 3D embossing folder, page 65. So pretty. And the designer paper is Nature Sweetness, page 41. $16.50. All those foiled sheets. It's beautiful. Okay, so this is 1 by 5 3/8. This piece here is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And that's going to go into the embossing folder. I'll put all the paper cut sizes on my blog, which is jillybling.com, right here. Okay, so here is, can you see how pretty that is? It's just beautiful. You know, on this project, I was thinking, oh, what if I run my stamp pad over it to kind of accentuate the colors? I did it, but I wasn't, well, here, I could show you on the corner that we're going to cover up. I didn't quite like it. It was effective, because here's is where the designer paper will be. But, and then I thought, oh, it'll dry softer and lighter, which it did, but to me, it still looked a little bit dirty. But look how that accentuates the embossing folder. So in some cases, that would be great. But this one, you'll see here in just a minute. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to stick on there, but I'll give it a minute to dry. And base paper, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Fold that in half. Do a soft fold. Then bone folder, nice crease. Okay, and then the inside seafoam paper is 5 1/4 by 4, and the inside white paper is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And if you want to take a picture of that, I will hold it up here in just a minute. Okay, see how that looks? Cool, but nah. Okay, so there is for this project the paper cut sizes. And like I said, I'll put them on my blog so you don't have to write them down or you don't have to take a picture. Okay, let's get to building this card. So I am going to cover up that using liquid glue. I would use Stamp and Seal, but Stamp and Seal will, because the folder makes the paper so textured, that means that the Stamp and Seal will just stick to the high points, which for me isn't good enough. Stick them. So liquid glue, once it soaks into the paper fibers, that will be really well stuck. And it looks like I need to trim this just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to let that kind of dry a bit. Oh, I have this. I could put that on the silver. And that I'll put on with dimensionals. Oh, Host Code. If you don't already have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. And if you'd like something, if you could use this Host Code that I'll put in the description, I would thoroughly appreciate it. Oh, and I'd love to send you $50 or more. I'd love to send you this card. Come on. Okay, that goes on silver. Okay, that's looking pretty. So now these pieces, and I'll hold them up so you could see that, yeah, they are a little different. So I think that, and if you haven't seen, because Stampin' Up! This past catalog came out with some dies that perfectly wrap around words, the frame. This band right here is intended to put glue all over that, and you could stick this right on, which is great. And it's kind of sticking out from either side. And I trimmed that away. If I were to have used the larger die, this die right here, it would perfectly hold this size paper. But because I chose the two smaller ones, I'm going to trim away this bit right here and here, and then the same on this one. So how about if I stick it down? Oh, and did you see the difference in the two of them? This one has kind of like a rounded leaf. And that one is more fern. This one is more just, they're all a little bit different, which is kind of fun. So, are you going to put them like this? So it wraps around like that. And of course you could turn it over this way. Or if you do them in different colors, or not, you can have them layer. Because it seems like they're strategically placed that these pieces fit right here into this gap. At first I was thinking maybe I would sponge some of the greenery on the lower part, but I like how it ended up. It's kind of monochromatic card. Or you could put it around all sides, or you could do it in foil. That would be pretty. So let's see. So this one, I did it on top, bottom, and this side to the right is without, to the right, to my right, it's without greenery. So I'm going to do it like that and put my little paper on here. So I'm going to put my paper on, then trim these little long ends. So let's see, start out here. Or you could leave the ends on. They don't look terrible. So see how that perfectly fits? It holds the glue perfectly. Someone was thinking. I don't think I have any stories today. No stories. I always have dog or husband stories. Nothing today, I don't think. Okay, so I'm going to trim off that. And if you're like, wait a minute, are you really going to trim that off? That means you're going to lose all this. But it's still held on right there. And when you look at the sample, and I trim it off, put it over here, this whole side off to the left is just a bunch of greenery. So you really don't notice that there's just a stem kind of hanging loose over there. Anyhow, that's where I put the bow. Okay, so let's trim off these little points. Good. And then this, trim it off right there. And then trim off that solid point. Okay. So now it's looking pretty, and I'm absent a couple of points. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'll attach it, and then I'll trim off the points that are showing. So for attaching it, I guess I could put glue on here. I don't think it matters. I'm working right here on my card base. Am I asking for trouble? Okay, there it is. Well, I'm going to cover it up. So if I get a glue smudgy, it's okay. Okay, there it is. And that is just like this one. But I'm going to trim off, hold on. I'm going to trim off this piece up here and this piece here. Oh, that's going to leave this little fern thing hanging all on its own. Okay, good. See, you don't even see that one. This one is hanging all on its own. You don't even see it. Gets mixed in with all this other greenery. Okay, so now the fern, I just pretend like it planned to be being all fancy. Look at that. Never knew. Okay, so that is getting there. Inside papers. Okay, let's attach. So first I have to trim off this extra. See how there's extra? And then I'm going to put the silver elegant trim around it. So it's about a ½ inch too big, ½ inch too big. And on here I'm going to use tear tape. If I used my liquid glue or my Stampin' Seal, because this elegant trim is kind of, has a mind of its own, kind of coarse, I don't think it would hold. Therefore, tear and tape right about here, here, smush down, reveal that sticky, and let's wrap it around. See, it has a mind of its own. It says, I don't want to wrap around. I want to be out there and being all pretty. But this right here at the seam, I think that's quite pretty. And now I know that the elegant trim is just itching to go boing like that. So let's seal it in place, and I won't talk long. Smush it in place. And now, before it gets all teenager-like, I'm gonna lock it. Oh, that one popped off again. Maybe it needs two of them. And that's gonna stay there permanently, just like that. Okay, two of them. Okay, trim. Stick it in place. Good. Good. Okay. Before you change your mind. Yep, I gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. We are locked in place. So now this is going to go on with dimensionals. More dimensionals than are probably, oh, I could use the edge, than are probably needed. Do you use the edge? You should use the edge. If you're doing a shaker card, those pieces are perfect to make your own shaker card. If you don't have the adhesive strips, which are very convenient, perfectly made for shaker cards. But if you're just itching to do one, I've done 2 shaker cards lately, you could use those edges. Okay, so I'm going to leave the tear and tape paper on there and just use dimensionals. I think that if I would have lifted off the paper and it was sticky, I think it might have like stuck down on the card base. Okay, so that is in place. So now our beautifulness is going to go right here. Maybe a little higher this time. This one is midpoint to a bit low. Okay, this one could go high with dimensionals. I'll use the edge. Whew, look at that one. I probably don't need that much. Okay, so I know I didn't have stories, and this really isn't a story, but the dog is on the couch under his blanket doing that deep breathing. You know how the deep breathing, when you really don't want to wake up, but you do because it's time, but you're doing that, that's what he's doing. And then he can sleep all night. Amazing. Okay, so that's looking good. So now it's time for 5 pieces. So there's fern with a curl, twig, and mini twigs. So looking at where there's a void in greenery, you know what? I'm going to tack down just the ends of these. Just because they're very delicate. And I know that the glue is very liquid right now, but after it has a second to kind of dry, it will hold better. like that one. Okay, so now how about, I see a gap here, here. I want to leave this blank. So this one, oh, right there. Right in this gap. So I'll tuck it in just a little bit, but not too much. Now push that down more in just a minute after the glue starts to dry. Because right now it's just too liquidy. There, that's pretty. That shows up. Pebbled path. Oh, who knew? And I'm coming around to wild wheat. It's like a pretty accent color. No, needs to be at a little bit of an angle. One more. It's like I could use like 5 more. You know, decorate the thing. Get it all decorated. What about, no. I was going to say, can it be out here on the textured paper, but no. Okay, that one kind of gets lost. Okay, so see if all the glue is ready to stick down. So now it just needs double bow and bling. Double bow. And I'll put this on with a glue dot, followed up with liquid glue, because we know what this stuff does. If it was on a glue dot, it would probably, like a half an hour later, spring up like a Easter bunny rabbit. I made this one too small. Lack of circulation there. Okay, so there's that. And a glue dot, but I'm going to fold it in half, or maybe that's a third, and then another third. I want it really small just because the bow, if it was a big old ribbon, I wouldn't have to fold it at all. But I don't want this glue dot making the card stick to the inside of the envelope. That would be tragic. Just tragic. Okay, so maybe this time right here. Thank you. And you know what? I know it is just, I'll hold it up. It's an overabundance of silver and sparkle. Okay, I can see the glue dot through there, so I'm purposely going to put some glue over that because I don't want it, because the glue dot will remain tacky. The liquid glue will dry hard. Okay, so maybe, because it has liquid glue soaking into the fibers, if I put this right under here, let it dry, maybe it will kind of calm down a little. Maybe. And the ribbon, the the elegant trim probably does not belong over the letters, but that's how it's going to be for today. Okay, it is a little excessive, but hey, if you're going to say thank you, you got to say it in a big way. Thank you. It's like, man, you mean it, huh? And this piece that I cut off, remember how I said, oh, it just kind of blends in with all the others? I see it popped up here. And my glue isn't working. You know I just did my glue. Oh, come on. Did I get it on the bow? Yeah. I guess I should have just used my big glue bottle. I like the little one. The little one, this one is kind of, I got it from Amazon. It's kind of a softer plastic, so it's easy to squeeze, which I like that. Okay, I'm not sure if I got anything on there. I thought I did. I did now. There's a puddle right there. Okay, so for the inside is a little bit quiet. Oh, I didn't put bling. Bling. Sparkle Gems, my most favorite of all time. Fun, what is it called? Adhesive Back Sparkle Gems. Yeah, they're just so pretty. So I'm going to use 3 silver. I will use a big one. Can you see how pretty that is? Sparkle. Right here. And another big one. There, it's part of the collage. And then a little one. Right there. Pretty. Okay, so for the inside, clear this stuff out. Inside, let's do it just like this, because that's a little bit subdued, but it's all kind of matching and everything. So you are greatly appreciated. Right there at the top, and Pebbled Path. And then I wanted like Pebbled Path stamped off, which I just about did, but picking up the color, Smoky Slate, the color of the silver accents, I'm just going to go with Smoky Slate. And another one, there's all kinds of greenery. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 greenery. Oh, bad. I don't know how I could recover from that. Magic paper, you are greatly appreciated. Pebbled Path. Good thing it's two-sided. You can tell, I'm frustrated. Let's just try it again. See, that's what happens when you rush. You do whoopses. Okay, so the problem came because I have 2 stamps on here. Therefore, one of them is going to go off. Just one of that one. Okay, let's see which one had to take a back seat. One, 2, 3, 4, and then I want to use that. Did you notice that on the sample? 1, 2, oh, I like how that one curves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I use all of them? Okay. So I used all the ferns. So now, soft seafoam. You're like, what? That's this stamp. Just a background. And it's really light, but soft seafoam is really light. So after I stamped this, I thought, well, now the ferns are, it looks good. Anyhow, I took blends and add just a hint of color. And you don't have to be all that precise because this soft seafoam is so light. It kind of does identify where, instead of this all looking like a blob of fern, it identifies, oh, okay. There's one. It makes them a little bit more separate. But you don't have to take time coloring in each leaf. That might drive you crazy. Because when it dries, it's going to be really soft. Definitely up the center. And I'm not taking any time to blend. This is all Seafoam Dark. And when I put the pictures on my blog, I'll make sure to take a picture kind of close up of all this, and I'll show you in a minute too. But it does make a difference. If you compare not colored to colored, it's better this way. And this one, because it's so delicate, it just gets the, what do you call that, the spine? So I'm going to a baby shower, and the mom-to-be said, hey, get me a book, a baby book, and write a little message inside to baby Luca, little boy. And so I asked Emma and Evan, what book do you remember as a kid? Because we went through every night, like 2 books. I was always hoping they were small books. I haven't heard back from them yet, but I just sent them the message a short time ago. So what books do you remember as a kid? And not like ones that scare you or anything, but just that's your favorite. Because that's what I want to get. Amazon has everything, so I could get it in a few days. The baby shower isn't until next month. But if you have a favorite book, I'd love to hear what it is. Oh, Emma just replied. She likes Peter Rabbit. See, now I don't know if she really remembers Peter Rabbit or if she's saying that just because that was the theme of her nursery. What was that raccoon book? The Kissing Hand. I remember when they were going to school for the first time, that was kind of important to them. And that's just where the mama raccoon says, whenever you're feeling a little blue, like put your hand to your face, kiss your hand, and you'll know that mama's there with you. I'll have to ask Emma. Because Peter Rabbit, there was all kinds of like portions. Well, Beatrice Potter. There's all kinds of portions to the Peter Rabbit story. Yeah. Soft seafoam. Aren't these colors beautiful together? And the inside. Oh, I'll hold this up. Isn't that pretty? That's it for today's project. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you haven't already, if you can, hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Try to say that fast. Okay, thanks for watching.